Well, it is possible to strike gold in the property game, but sometimes you have to be prepared to bide your time. We first visited a house here in Morden, Surrey, in the spring of 2013. Today I've taken a turn off the main drag and, well, everything suddenly feels a lot more rural, or should I say overgrown, as I try and track down our property. Now, it's a detached two-storey house. It had a guide price of £145,000. There it is. Now, usually I would head inside, I'd have a look around, but I know all the windows and the doors have been blocked up, so I can't get in. The property was unloved and abandoned, but it was on 0.18 acres of land. Now, that's an amazing find in an area of Surrey that's close enough to central London to be on the tube line.
You can treat me dirty from a soul that's been abused.
Well, the house has certainly seen better days and it looks extremely derelict from the outside. I can only imagine what works it requires on the inside. Lots. Now, it does, however, sit on a really nice, large, rectangular plot of land. Now, it's overgrown at the moment, but I think this land could actually be the real selling feature here. So what are your options? Well, I think you actually have a couple. You could renovate the existing house and think about extending it, or you could demolish and rebuild. Personally, I think demolition is the way to go, as the existing house needs so much repair work. What could you build? Well, I know this is a popular family spot, so I think a lovely new three-bedroom house would work really well here. But hang on a minute, I'm not just talking about one house. The size of this plot, it's making me think big. I think you could fit 2, 3, or even 4 properties on this site. Not bad for £145,000. But let's not get too excited just yet, as there are plenty of hoops to jump through before you can build your lovely new houses here. Now, there's no guarantee that the local council will grant you planning permission, and this process can take plenty of time and money. The planners will consider aspects such as parking provision, how well the proposed properties will fit into their surroundings, and also the privacy from the neighbouring houses. Unfortunately, there's still a long way to go until this really can be used as a building plot.
'Cause you got a long way to go. It's not that deep. Take it easy. Please, man, you got a long way to go. Yeah, since you got a long way to go. Rock with me now.
A little scout around this site has thrown up a whole lot of exciting options. Let's see who felt this lot was worth fighting for when we went to the auction. Not surprisingly, for a property this close to London with land, bidding at the auction was brisk, to say the least.
274, 275, 276, 277, 278, 279, 280, 281, 282, 282, 281, first time, second time, third and last time. Have you all done? Sold 281. Sorry, the other bidders.
So at almost twice the guide price, the property was bought by Yagan for £281,000. Yagan was at the auction with his friend and fellow property developer Andrew. They offer each other support on projects, and they both came along to tell us what they had planned. Guys, congratulations. What was it about the site that you liked so much?
It was because it's quite a big site where we have had preliminary drawings done on it, and I can see that they can have four dwellings that can go on it, and that was a goer for me more than anything else.
So when I first arrived at this site, I was like, it's amazing, it's quiet, it's like the countryside. It is beautiful, you can't hear a thing. Until the train goes crashing past.
Oh, the railroad comes through the middle of the house. The railroad comes through the middle of the house. It comes and goes through the middle of the house, and the trains are all on time. And here comes the Bible.
But Yagan planned for the noise of the trains by specifying triple glazing, just one of the factors in his £800,000 development budget. But with a sales valuation of £1.25 million, I knew it was important to get planning permission. So what did the council say? Have you had chats with them prior to this?
No.
No, we haven't. No. That sums it up. No.
You're very relaxed about this. So you haven't even had a chat with the local council about the site and whether or not it would be a goer?
No, we haven't, but we sort of formed an opinion with the housing market and apparent housing shortage in this area that there would not be too many problems, and we have everything crossed the won't.
Who was it that said proper planning prevents pretty poor performance? Well, it was certainly true here, because 11 months later, the plot was still a building site. So, what went wrong?
We went in for planning for 4 houses, which is 2 sets of semis, which are perfect for the area. We had a lot of objections from the neighbours and saying that it is an overdevelopment. End of the day, they said 4 is too much, and the planners said come back to us with 2. So, taking their suggestions, we went in with 2, and they said no to that as well. So, leaving us no choice except to renovate the existing house. But I think we've done a good job of it.
So after going from 4 houses to just 1, the plan was to make that one house as high-spec and high-end as possible to squeeze every drop of profit from the development.
You go back to the drawing board and just start again, and it will get us where we want to be. It was just not where we wanted to be originally.
So what effect has all this had on Yagan's £500,000 construction budget for the original 4 houses he'd hoped for?
At the moment, I think I'm on 200 plus. And I think by the time we'll be finished with everything, it'll be about 250 to 300.
Worst case then, Yagan saved £200,000 on his original construction budget, but he will only have 1 house to sell.
When I bought it, I said to myself, it's going to be a gamble.
You have just got to make sure that you've got enough reserve to cover the unforeseen.
We'll return later in the show to find out how this one house that should have been 4 turned out.
Coming up, the upstairs-downstairs Cumbrian conundrum.
It seems bigger up here than it is downstairs.
And we go back to Surrey to see how the house we featured over a year ago finally finished up and find out what it's worth. Time has passed and we are hoping that money has been well spent.
Yes, it would be great if all those fine-sounding plans have turned out well.
Have they done any work? Let's go back and find out. Back now to Morden in Surrey, where this rundown house was bought by Yagan for $281,000. So why have you decided to put both of your heads together on a project like this?
We actually came together 5 years ago with a mutual interest in a property in Stoke. Certain aspects of our personalities have prevented us formalising a formal partnership.
They planned to build 4 semi-detached houses on the plot, but the planners had different ideas. The compromise was to extend the existing house into a 4-bedroom detached dwelling. Last time we saw them, they were 11 months into the build, and it was still not finished. Now, 5 months further on, we're back, and it's finished. But was the work done within the £280,000 estimated budget?
I totally spent about $325,000 to finish off the works in the house. That was including the extension to the house and the detached garage as well.
The remarkable thing is that apart from the new garage and the extension to the right of the house, everything else has the old house at its heart. There are some clues. The 3 small windows above the lean-to extension reveal the roots of the house.
Old house had to stay because we didn't have planning to actually bring the old house down. But all we did was use the old house as it was and then knock down all the side wall where we were doing the extension to it and then renovated all the brickwork to a fresh new brickwork on the outside. So basically we cladded the existing old house with new brickwork all along.
God bless you. You make me feel brand new. For God
an incredible transformation. And the side extension certainly adds significantly to the upstairs and the downstairs square footage.
The only thing that's existing from the old house is pretty much the perimeter of the house, which were the 3 walls. The 4th wall has got to be knocked down because we had an extension to the other 4th side. So it started with the brick cladding with all the new brickwork, new heating, new plumbing, new electrics. The house didn't even have electric, water or gas connections. So all of them we had to reinstate, or we had to apply for new connections for every single thing, and all of them were new.
For Andrew, the new look didn't just end with the house itself.
I'm most pleased with the grounds, actually. You know, when we bought it, the boundaries were a little bit sketchy. Once they've been established and sort of the landscaping's gone in, I think the visuals of the property are far in excess of what we ever anticipated. And I think that's, you know, if I'm being mercenary, that's added value to it as well, which was just a hidden gem, really. We never anticipated that.
And they never anticipated planning taking so long either. The original timescale for the 4 semis was approximately 6 months. We now double that, and when we last saw inside, the utility and kitchen looked like this. So, has it been worth the wait? The kitchen boasts high-spec granite worktops. As does the front of house utility. The bright, spacious hallway has an understairs loo. The lounge, too, is fitted to a very high specification. The family and dining room has patio doors to the rear. At the top of the stairs, the family bathroom on the left is fitted with high-quality units. All the bedrooms have fitted mirrored wardrobes. The one Andrew favours as the master bedroom has ensuite facilities too, as does the bedroom Jagan favours as the master. And the smaller bedrooms with their built-in wardrobes are a reasonable size too. So, was it worth the wait? Was it worth the £281,000 paid at auction and the £325,000 paid refurbishing? Well, there's only one way to find out. You guessed it. We invited 2 local estate agents round to view the completed property and give us their thoughts. It's a tough call because there are no properties like this to compare it with in the surrounding area. Andrew and Jagan have created a one-off here. So Jagan paid £281,000 at auction, and after the failed planning for 4 dwellings, his only option was to extend and renovate the old house. Will it meet the agent's approval?
I think the layout's done a really good job of it. Well-proportioned bedrooms, en-suites upstairs, good living space downstairs. So it fits perfectly for the type of person that want to purchase this house.
The transformation since the actual first instance of viewing it and knowing the building very well from old is just tremendous.
Jagan and Andrew have always been clear that they wouldn't consider renting the property out. But let's find out if they're tempted now by the figures.
If they rent this house out, they'd be looking at about £2,000 to £2,500 per calendar month.
For a rental, this property would secure a sum of circa £2,300 to £2,500 per month.
Well, that would give Jagan a yield on his investment of just over 4.5%. How do they feel about that?
If they said double the amount for the rental, you know, it still wouldn't be an option. We are committed to selling. That was always the game plan, and it still is that, yeah.
So what's taken into account when getting a valuation for sale?
It's a unique home within its surroundings.
It's beautifully laid out, and the fact it's detached is very unusual for this area.
This is a home for an owner-occupier, somebody who's going to be quite discerning, and as such, the standard needs to be extremely good.
Also, the area is close to London, but it isn't in London, so will the property command London prices? Time to find out the agent's conclusions. Remember, Yagan has spent £606,000 so far. Will he be able to manage a margin in Morden?
In order to sell the property, the owner should mark it for offers in excess of a figure of £950,000.
I think this house is worth £950,000 to £1 million.
That means Yagan could be in for a potential profit of £356,000 minus taxes and fees.
Quite happy with what the values are. We'll have to see what it sells for, but quite happy to see what they're saying.
Makes you realise it is worth going the extra mile by putting the better spec in rather than just the off the counter stuff. So yeah, it's great to hear it.
But I reckon Yagan could have got a possible extra £90,000 profit if he'd built the 4 houses he was planning to. So have there been lessons learned?
The main thing is we should have approached the local planners before and have taken their advice, but it was a gamble.
Yeah, that's right, it was a gamble. And, you know, you've got to bear in mind that with auction properties, you don't often have the time to get the answers back from the relevant planners before the day of the sale. So you do have to go to a degree relying on gut feeling and if you think it's going to go right. And, yeah, you go out with your ideas of where you want it to be, but sometimes, as in this case, it doesn't happen. But, you know, we're still happy with what we've got.